I made new thobes was 1400 or something.
Yeah, I'm with you now.
He went Hijri.
Because how far back?
I'll let you know. I'll tell you the
عامل
reason.
فيل.
I'll tell you the reason. I'll tell you the reason. Because I have thobes that are 1442 that don't fit me. So I have to look at the tag
Oh,
like,
wow.
okay, this is the correct edition. I get the idea.
So you know the timeline of your life based on thiab and sizes.
Yes.
Mashallah alaic. Hey, welcome back to Kabsa. What's happening? What's popping? Episode 231. I got the homie. Oh, it's your boy Adil. What's happening? What's good? Yeah, got Tuxar behind
Hello.
me. I got the Volkswagen up. I can see Shams is right next to
Yo.
me. I got listen number one in the building.
Pass the Kabsa on all socials.
Shout out. Oh, yeah, again, he's giving y'all, what'd you call it?
Engagement. A call to
Call to
action.
action. There,
Call to action.
action.
That's
Pass
not
the
the kind of
Kabsa
engagement they
on
want.
all
They
the
was gonna
socials.
go about my guy.
The most awkward engagement.
Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, كله.
كله. شيل مدير شيل. Shout out to tons of viewers. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate y'all. We want to start like light and just do random things, and then later on we'll get to Palestine. I don't want to start with Palestine because we might be there for the whole day. And I really want to give it the respect it deserves. Also,
course.
I don't want us to be so down and go into jokes. It looks really weird.
No.
All right, so let's just start with normal. Hey guys, how y'all doing?
Hey.
How's your week?
I saw one of the worst movies I remember seeing in a long while.
Mm-hmm.
Turks,
What?
you saw The Exorcist, the original one, I assume.
Way back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You would describe it as a classic horror movie, correct?
Yeah. It is the class.
Yes.
Not the
What-
class, but yeah.
what-
Classic genre. at least.
What made it scary? I would assume good cinematography, subtlety.
True.
Not
Checks out so far.
Subtlety was it subtle?
yeah,
Yeah.
there was a slow build up.
Okay, slow burn.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
they didn't go over the top.
They didn't have to show you everything من البداية. يعني, suspense.
Costumes and makeup, I'm guessing, were on point as well.
Yeah,
Of course,
and
yeah.
it very
Practical
much
effects,
it very
yeah.
much leaned into its religious component. Like, yo, this is a Catholic movie.
Yeah.
Right?
And then it became
I saw the sequel, Exorcist Believer or some shit.
one of the sequels.
The newest sequel.
Yeah,
but
since they've released like a good 5 or 10
This
movies.
is the newest sequel.
Why?
Okay.
Because money. So the sequel is that, okay, what was the Exorcist about? Okay, it was a white girl that was possessed by a demon. Okay, what are we going to do? Okay, how about 2 girls that are possessed by a demon and one of them is black?
MashaAllah.
And okay, the last one was Catholic. How about we do all the religions together? Like the Avengers of Exorcism. What?
Because demons don't discriminate.
And let's get the old star of the first movie, and like she's like the cop that has to come out of the retirement to save them.
Oh, no.
It was like the most cynical cash grab. I could see the director's notes. Okay, they have to tick this box, this box, this box. It was one of the biggest wastes of time I saw in theater.
It's like when they made those a female version of all the movies.
Yeah, like
Ocean's 8,
Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters.
yeah, like I do not remember.
Ghostbusters were kind of fun, though.
I didn't see it, to be honest, so I'm not going to judge.
But
But it was the same idea. Like, you know the story, but you can go watch it again
Yeah,
for some weird reason.
like it kind of hit me. Like, yo, guys, make new shit. Like, move on past the 90s and 80s. Yeah,
Really? In the reboot era?
Go
I mean,
past the reboot
hasn't
era.
actually true.
hasn't that been the trend of the movie industry recently? Like, I'm glad they're finished with the writer's strike. Hopefully,
They did?
Yeah, they
Yeah,
just signed
like
an agreement like a couple
2 weeks ago?
Yeah,
Wallah,
Yeah.
Alf
Yeah.
Mabruk. What happened?
they're getting paid finally.
The writers?
Yes.
Wow.
Supposedly.
And-
Supposedly.
And
Yeah.
no AI.
No
Not,
AI.
not yet.
Yes,
That's for the
Not
actors.
yet.
That's
We
when the
get-
actors tagged along and like, yeah, we're striking. No AI. Okay, that's what we want.
No, but see,
Papa.
I saw The Creator a couple of weeks ago, and that was a great movie in terms of like original content that is done in a nice, tasteful way. It had the same leading actor as Tenet, George David Washington, something like that.
Yeah.
Very sci-fi, very cyberpunk. Has a lot to do with AI, actually. So you guys, I think, can still watch it, but it brings together that old AI cyberpunk feel that you got from Blade Runner, you know?
Yeah, I saw the trailers. Like, it looks like something original finally.
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting.
And it didn't get that much attention because, hey, The Exorcist, whoa, this looks like a good movie because the old one
Like,
was good.
The
They prey on that. That's the problem.
The only real film that I remember that I saw in the last few years that this is this is some cinema, even though I don't like the director, is Oppenheimer.
Oppenheimer is great.
Yeah, that was a great cinema
like that
going
movie, yeah.
experience. Like, خلاص, finally, like something that isn't Marvel bullshit.
Whole lot.
Khalal, we got used to that formula. I mean, even action movies nowadays, they have to be comedy. They have to hit all the Marvel tropes.
There's a new Equalizer that just came out.
I didn't see that
third
one.
one. Yeah. John Wick that's been also a successful movie
Yeah.
genre
Franchise.
in a sense.
Yeah,
They have a TV show now that came out,
it's running
so
now.
they
yeah.
are building on that universe. But again, it goes back to the old franchises that hit once upon a time keep coming back into relevance.
Speaking of entertainment, I want to ask you a question.
Ask us.
Should I start playing Assassin's Creed, the new one,
No.
or Cyberpunk?
I'd say
Cyberpunk, I
I'd say play Cyberpunk. Like Assassin's Creed. Like, did you play the first one?
Yeah, which I
it's-
loved.
Yeah, it's basically that. If you have the nostalgia for it, go for it.
So
No.
both.
Yeah, sure. Why not? فلوسك.
It's in Baghdad, which is an interesting setting.
And that's what I love about it. They're going back to their original.
Original.
Explain to people what's Assassin's Creed, by the way.
Assassin's Creed is a game where you jump into the ancestral memory of your.
Too deep already.
Yeah. You play a character that goes
Yeah.
back in time. In
So you
different
jump
places.
into you start like reliving your ancestors' memories in ancient eras. I don't know.
Egypt, the Viking era. What else did they use? I think
Renaissance.
the Crusades at some point.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
There's like 8 million DLCs for that game.
Yeah,
I know.
there's a pirate one.
There's a pirate one.
There's
yes.
a pirate one, which seems fun.
It was.
Yeah,
It
was.
is a very
It was.
fun game.
That was 4. They're up to like 12 now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it is wild.
And now they are going back to Baghdad. It's the first time they do an Arab world version.
No, the first one was in
fully Arabic
Yeah.
game, by the way.
There's
Done
a language
perfectly.
and dialogue.
Yeah.
See, that's an interesting area. to
باللغة
explore.
العربية الفصحى.
I'm glad they're going that
Yep.
direction at least. And you're giving exposure to Arab culture in a different way. And with a big
Yeah, through gaming of Baghdad in the what year?
Well, back in the day.
Exactly.
yeah, it's like, this is
Exactly.
OG Baghdad. This is like Harun Rashid
Yeah.
times.
Yeah. The game starts with previously on Baghdad.
the season.
You know.
This is pre-Mongolian.
That's what I was gonna say. Is
Yeah.
it pre?
The good times.
The good times,
good
yes,
times.
when it was still, thriving as a cosmopolitan city.
Well, I appreciate you boys for
Giving
updating everyone about the latest trends and entertainment. that's
Yo.
been happening.
Yes.
Mhm.
I
Good
zoned out.
I
came
know.
back,
I noticed.
and he was still talking about the same movie.
Yeah,
I don't know how
Dude,
long
no,
he was
yeah.
talking
It
about.
really
for.
bothered him.
Yeah, obviously.
I mean, shouldn't go to the cinema anymore.
I don't like wasting my time. God damn it.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You did.
But you wasted mine.
Where's darts? Yeah.
Yes, you must hurt with me.
It's positive when you have friends like us. Like, you'll know that you'll be successful in life.
The tests are positive. Yeah.
The tests are positive on all the spectrums. Anyway, I want to do a quick rewind
Mm.
to an ancient podcast
Mm.
called Past the Kabsa.
Yeah.
Okay.
And one of the first 100 episodes
Mm.
when we discussed during the time of the Kofish.
Mm.
Kofish is because YouTube is going to
Mm.
annoy us.
Mhm.
But y'all know what I mean.
Yeah.
The Hachu disease.
Yeah, the Hachu disease.
Back in the older days
Mhm.
of staying home.
So we did an episode where Shamsi got on his knees. I remember it clearly.
Mm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Y'all don't remember.
He,
I
does, he, does,
remember
he
it.
does that a lot.
He
a
does
lot.
remember. I
Yeah.
remember it.
He does
Keep
it a
going.
lot.
Keep going on.
Turks just back me on this one, right?
Malik.
Because you weren't here.
Mhm.
And he was like, guys.
Yeah, you were taking your meds back then.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. You didn't exist in our head yet. So Shamsi was on his knees saying, guys, believe me, the world's going to be different from now on. And we're like, yo, Shamsi, relax. He's like, no, and he started crying. And he was like, and he put his hands together like this.
Emotion.
Yes.
Yeah,
Mm.
You know,
It was raining indoors.
do you remember,
Yeah.
was it that cat in, what's the name of that movie, that Disney movie? Or was it a Pixar or Disney movie?
What? Alice in Wonderland?
No, it's in
Puss in
Shrek.
Boots.
Yeah, there you go, Shrek.
Yeah.
Mm.
When he was like all begging with the big eyes,
Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
was Shamsi
Yeah.
saying, guys, believe me, it's different.
Yeah.
Life is going to change.
Maybe I'm different this time.
And then he spent a good, I think, 6 to 8 episodes reminding us with tears dropping down his eyes
Every
Oh,
day.
I remember this.
every day.
Yes, yes,
Yeah, yeah, I
Talking
remember
about
this.
the world is different today.
Yes.
Kumbaya,
I started
my
yoga.
lord.
Okay. Do you remember that?
Mhm.
I was walking in the farm. Remember
Started
that?
Yeah.
yoga.
Remember that? So now I want to go back.
Mm.
Crypto was
And I
the
want to ask
future.
you, Shamsi.
Mm,
After all those tears that were shed
mm.
and those nights that you never slept, holding her picture. Never mind. So
Doing the poses.
doing the poses.
Yeah.
All right. How do you see the world today? Now that we're like beyond it.
Yeah, not that different, unfortunately.
Yes, yeah.
You could make the argument that it's kind of worse.
Yeah. I mean, arguably, it is actually.
What I want to know, the reason I'm going back to this is because I was having this great conversation with someone who is very intellectual, unlike us.
Mm.
And we were discussing that.
Mm.
Not you.
Mm.
He doesn't know you.
Okay.
I said intellectual. Okay. So
Hello. He doesn't do poses. Then.
do poses.
Okay.
He doesn't walk in farms.
Okay.
So we were having that conversation. And he was like, I do not understand the amount of belief that people still have in humanity,
I mean,
which is super strong.
I mean, it's okay. Go on. What was his argument?
Well, his argument is that when we look out the window, like we spent most of our life on social media now saying vibes, energy,
Mm,
you know, life beautiful,
mm,
Mm,
touch grass,
mm,
you know, eat healthy, go gym,
Journal.
journal.
It's important.
And we kept trying to spread that message, but no one is actually following it. In everyday life, you do not really follow it.
yeah.
And life became so busy and hectic that if someone goes through something bad, you don't care because you're going through something bad.
Do you
You're
know what?
desensitized. Ooh, that's
do you know
a
what-
hard
Do you know what that's called?
argument.
Adil?
Yeah.
Was
That's
that
called selection bias.
fair?
Which means
Because basically, listen, I am doing the vibes and energy. The people around me are doing vibes and energy, and my environment is vibes and energy. So I assume, and I will extrapolate it further, the world is becoming more vibes and energy
because of what I see.
because what I see in my bubble.
Yeah.
But honestly, like, tell that to, I don't know, like a tribesman in Kashmir who lives on 20 cents a day. Like, tell him that your avocado smoothie is making your gut health better. وشوف ايش بيقول لك.
Well, again, don't you think that social media is a world on its own,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And
It's parallel universe.
it's literally its own thing.
Mhm.
And so when you get caught up in it, you kind of believe and think that the world is like that because that hashtag is strong and the algorithm is pushing that hashtag.
Yes.
And then all of your feed is about, you know, what vibes and energy and what beautiful life is.
Cute cats. Look at them.
Exactly.
Do you know what they call people who aren't online? Normies.
Normies.
The disconnected.
No, they call them normies because they're normal and they don't understand that your memes and bullshit is not known by the vast majority of people online.
No, but see, now we're talking about a bigger thing. We're talking about the state of the world and the state of how people relate to each other, given, you know, everything going on from
Yeah,
the way you work to the way you live to
it's
to
all-
what you consume.
it's all dependent on who you follow and the algorithm and what is surfaced to you. Honestly, if you live in your part of the world and your habits will inform your online and social behavior. So you're not really being as opened up to the rest of the world as you think, unless you make that effort. The majority of people don't make that effort.
But can we all agree that there's going to be no peace at one time in life?
No.
I mean,
We can agree on that.
there's,
Yeah.
there's,
Yeah.
There's
there's
never going to be peace.
looking at human history, there's been very, very few years when you would call peaceful years, and that's when no major wars happened where people didn't kill each other in large numbers.
Yeah, but at the same time, okay, see, I'm not even looking at it as killing people in large numbers.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Stability.
I'm not even looking at that. I'm looking at exactly that stability.
No, there will always be reasons for people to have conflict with each other, whether it's territorial, whether it's based on resources, whether it's based on ideology. You know, people have always found a reason to disagree with one another.
Because that's just our nature as humans.
Yes.
Yes, human nature
there's
is flawed.
us and
Exactly.
there's other.
So
That's
when-
why
you
we need religion.
When,
No,
that's another conversation.
True.
When COVID first happened, we're demonetized. Oh no! Like we were gonna make money. And anyway,
Kovish.
when COVID first happened, right? The thing, like even if you like go back to the episodes, we talked about this. It was the shock of what the world did to take medicine away from each other.
حقنا.
The human instinct of fuck everyone,
That's
I'm
not me.
important,
Yep.
showed up.
And it's been latent.
And at the same time, it didn't show up between people alone. It showed up between governments.
Nations.
You know, like there you are. No, this medicine's coming to me first before anything else.
And that's just one example of a global, problem that everybody had to deal with. And
Exactly.
that kind of
And no one had control over it.
Yeah, and that showed you how different governments would act differently.
It shows
And
you,
how humans would act differently.
it shows you that values and principles of the liberal world order, when push comes to shove, like, no, forget that. I got me and mine.
Well, because there are deeper forces at play here.
The other example that is worth mentioning, when Russia-Ukraine happened, and you had Russian businessmen who had their assets abroad.
Yeah.
Legally, under the legal process, businesses, whatever. And
They were taken away from them.
basically they said, we're going to take your shit.
Yeah.
Because we can.
And they did.
And they did. And like,
They disrespected every single law that they set forth, saying, these are the law, this is how we function as a human society. And then when it came, when something bothered them, they started to bend all of that.
Exactly, because they made the laws, and because we make the laws. Oh yeah,
it doesn't apply to us.
Yeah, we'll just happen to ignore it here in the situation. Let's sweep it under the carpet, basically.
Yeah, we're gonna make saying free Palestine is a crime and lecture you on free speech.
Didn't France do that?
France,
Yes.
Germany.
Yeah,
UK,
Germany.
UK, and
UK is lost, bro.
No, but come on, you look at it. Let's say the general trend of the past 40 years, right? The Cold War ended. People thought, the world is going in a better place. Democracy is happening, hooray! Economic liberalism happening, hooray! And then you end up going to the thousands, and you have a lot of countries around the world that followed that path now facing issues because of the global recession, because of everything else going on.
Yeah.
And then do you ask yourself, okay, so are we really on an upward trend, given everything happening in terms of climate change, given in terms of migration, all the and the conflicts, or not?
You know what that means, Shamsi? That means that freedom ain't free.
And not just that. Does the question?
Or freedom just doesn't exist.
Freedom in that context, the political context, doesn't really matter when you're getting paid 20 cents a fucking day.
Exactly.
And not being able to make ends meet. Nor does it matter when you're dealing with people coming at you with guns every other day, taking your sheep or whatever you're growing. But
You don't grow sheep.
no,
You raise them.
Let him believe it. Let him believe it.
No, I wanted to let it go. Okay, why'd you have
I
to do
couldn't.
that?
I couldn't. I had to.
I wanted to see where he's going to go with this.
There's another argument that says you look at places like India, places like China, and okay, yes, out of 1 billion people, there used to be 800 million living in poverty. Now there's like 400 million. Doesn't that mean things are better for the world as a whole, as an aggregate? And
Actually, you can just look at food supply. At one point, we thought we're all going to die. There's not going to be enough food for the world. Now there's too much food.
because we're so good at making it. But at the same time, not everybody's getting the food they need because
That's that's a different
resource
conversation.
allocation
Yeah.
under capitalism means you have to pay.
that chocolate.
But is it really capitalism?
that
though?
chocolate had a little bit of
I
slavery
mean,
in it.
listen, if I, as a U.S. company, I'm letting fruit supplies go to rot because in my farms because I don't want to drop the price down and people are still starving, then yes, it is capitalism. It is resource allocation at the end of the day.
Yeah, but again, you're talking about one country.
I'm giving an example here.
Yeah, that's why I'm not looking in the same way you're looking. I'm looking at it as a whole.
Yeah, here's the thing. The problem with the quote-unquote liberal world order is that it's supposed that there exists a single, unifying, universal set of values that people can adhere to.
Be greedy.
Not that specifically, but the reality is that there is no such thing as universalism. There are universalisms. China has its own thing. India has its own thing. The Muslim world has its own thing.
Oh, like remember we were talking about the metaverse when it first came out?
Mhm.
We're like, every country is going to have its own metaverse. They're not going to allow you to just have one metaverse for everybody to hang out in.
No,
It doesn't work that way.
It's just different ways of looking at the world at the end of the day. That's the basic building block of all of this. The lens that, you get born and live in the UK is different than the same lens that somebody's born living in China.
We can all agree that in life, we're never going to be one world.
Nope.
Who sang the One World, the Turks?
What?
Who sang the song for One World?
Michael Jackson.
We are the world.
Blue.
We are the children.
We are the world. We are the children. That's Michael Jackson and
Yeah. And
100,000 other people.
and plus 40.
Yeah, and there was another one called One World. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Mm.
One love.
I think it was
Black
One
Eyed
Life.
Peas.
I think that's even worse.
Featuring Justin Timberlake.
No, that's even worse, bro.
There was one mic by Nas.
So there's one mic right now. Are we going through the ones now?
I'm just saying, you know?
Yeah, I think Fergalicious is the answer to world peace.
All right, you stop. But what I was trying to say, now I lost my train of thought. We will never have the whole world come under one umbrella and say, hey, we're all going to work together. But I think in a world like today, the only thing that should come together universally, as they want to call it, where they have everybody together in one thing, it just has to be science and technology.
and
health.
and economic trade.
That's something. That's something that's always going to happen. Everyone has something the other one doesn't have. They're all going to trade. But the one thing that the whole world collectively should be putting money into together is science, technology,
Why?
healthcare, and so on and so on and so on.
Well, but see, that's the key word you
in
said,
whose
together.
favor?
Yeah, exactly. In whose favor?
Exactly. That's why I said the whole world.
So in everybody's favor.
Exactly.
But there are profits.
But that's intelligence.
Well, that's the thing. If you, I'm not saying go let big pharma be the people who lead this.
Mm.
No, bro. You created the UN. You created all these things. You can create an entity that the whole world can go behind, where it serves everybody else.
Well, I would
The
say
problem with all of that is, I know where you're trying to get to. It's going to be the oversight. Who's going to say I have oversight?
that's one part of it.
Yes, and
you
that's
know?
what's going to be the problem.
That's one part of it. And the other part of it is the very nature of what we're talking about. You know, the nature of the modern world that we live in today is always going to go back to that rational self-interest of, okay, no, mine, حقي أنا. I
Exactly.
want the US to be dominant. I want China to be dominant. Whoever else, you know.
There-
And I do agree there needs to be that logical over, you know, kumbaya kind of sense of, hey, this is for all of us. Let's just pool all of our resources. And we build
This is
all of
not
us, make it together.
politics. This is not anything.
It needs to have
Exactly.
that. It does
There-
need to have
there-
Would
that.
that ever happen?
There is a problem though, because the cultural war bullshit is already starting to bleed into the STEM fields in the Western world. The example I always come back to as
It's always been there, I would say.
Yeah.
no, it's getting
Especially the last 20 years.
they're making inroads now. And the example that I like to use that as a former fat ass,
Mhm.
Farmer.
yes, former,
Still on the inside.
as far as you know, listeners.
Exactly. Ladies and gentlemen, by the way, number one is gorgeous.
He's buff. You know, he's got pecs.
He's very tall.
16 of them.
Yeah.
So as a former
He's
fat
the blue guy in the watch. Anyway,
Yes. as
They call him Mr. Swinging. Yeah. The blue guy. I'm talking about the blue guy.
can I make my
No,
point?
بس ايوه.
خلصتوا؟
Yeah.
he's the blue guy's guy.
Basically, he's his type.
Anyway, you're
So
saying
as a former fat ass,
Mhm.
if I was born, I want to say 20 years later, I would have been roped into the quote unquote body positivity movement, that you can be quote unquote healthy at any size.
Oh, yeah.
And honestly, like they're making inroads.
The
in
Lizzo theory. Ew.
Yes,
there's a theory.
yes. Like now they're trying to make obesity not be classified as a health concern.
Yeah, because it saves us a lot of money from trying to help people.
Insurance companies. That's
yes,
their game. That's
bro.
their
That's,
play.
that's, that's the play right there. Yo, you're beautiful, bro. I know that your blood
Like,
pressure
keep doing what you're doing.
is through the roof. Like, I know diabetes is killing your leg, but you're gorgeous, queen. That's the play, bro. Let's save our healthcare for the skinnies.
That is so fucking cynical, by the way. It's just
and
terrifying.
tell me how,
Yeah.
Shamsi, you saw the
wait.
healthcare system.
Do you not see the look on my face? Do you not
Yes.
see how shooketh I am now right now?
Shooketh.
It's just clicking.
It's just clicking,
It's just
honestly.
clicking.
Yes, but it makes complete fucking sense.
So it's McDonald's.
It's McDonald's.
So it's McDonald's, yeah.
It's Big Mac.
The man made the decision.
The Big
Oh,
Mac
wow.
made the decision.
So yeah, that's see, and not just that. Like I was actually thinking.
Hold on. Hey, this is called jokes.
Yeah.
All right? And this is called a discussion.
We still like quarter pounders.
And this is what we believe.
Yeah.
We know you have healthy options. We know.
We believe they don't really believe that people are beautiful. They're just trying to save some more money for themselves.
that Big Mac sauce though. No, but
The way he said it was concerning.
I know. He's like, "That sauce."
What do you do with that sauce?
everything, Turks, everything, everything. Yeah,
He chips it on. Anyway.
packs, yo. Wow.
I got six.
No, even the bias in terms of race, right? In terms of like the cameras that and the algorithms that recognize Western white people patterns in and
Infrared doesn't detect black people apparently.
it's
yeah.
built into the technology.
You've seen that video of like the
camera.
The motion sensor.
they had the hand soap or like the towel dispenser. Like white guy puts his hand over.
There's a
they
worse
still-
one than
There's
that.
a camera. There's a camera.
Yeah, the Xbox, remember?
Yeah, it doesn't even see.
Yeah.
Yeah, when they brought an NFL player and they put the camera on, and like they never tested this before for some weird reason.
No,
Because there's no black people in the office.
Exactly. They did that on everybody around them. White, pasty males.
Yes, and it worked. And then so it was on stage, it was revealed. Was it the Xbox 360?
I
I
It
think
wasn't
it-
the first one, it was like the second or third one.
I think it
couple
was
years
the
ago.
Connect. The
Yes, Xbox
Yeah.
Connect.
It could be
Yeah,
that.
yes.
And then so he came on stage and they're trying to turn it on and like it doesn't recognize him.
Yeah. Who there? I can't see anyone. No.
Bro, it was so embarrassing.
It's
for
so
Microsoft.
bad, bro.
It was like error, too much soul detected.
Okay, that's
and
too much
and,
soul.
and the same argument can be made for the medical field in terms of how medicines were made for certain segments that don't really you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's true.
So it's inherently built in that type of bias. So bringing everybody together on the
Yeah,
same table.
we don't want to be contaminated by their bias. We want our bias.
No.
No, I think honestly, in terms of making it global, I think it's that's not going to happen. What you can do is make it regional. In terms of there are areas, let's say Latin America. At least there's a somewhat homogeneous population over there that has a
Excuse you?
shared-
Homogeneous?
Yes, Yo, what's wrong with you today, bro?
somewhat.
Let them
I
go,
said.
bro.
Okay.
Not even somewhat.
Yeah, no. In terms of culture.
Do you know how much these countries hate each other?
No. In terms of culture, shared culture, at least.
Ya Allah. It's not
terms
even
of-
shared culture.
And values as well.
Not even that.
It's more like shared religion.
Yeah, there we go. Values. Part of that.
yeah, but again, barely. Like, call a Mexican Cuban. I dare you. I dare you.
Okay, and same thing applies at least within the Slavic sphere, and the same thing within the Sinosphere. So there are ways to do that. That makes sense.
I don't believe it's going to happen because of one thing. We had COVID and we couldn't come together on it. And that was like something that the whole world needed to come together at one point real quick and work together, and they couldn't even do that.
So we're gonna fail next time it happens.
That's basically what I'm trying to tell you indirectly, is that we're always going to be in this dilemma.
Domestic.
This is what when we was talking about the Ministry of Health during that time. I was like, I'm grateful for our Ministry of Health because I know I need to listen to them because they care about my health. They're not trying to sell me a drug.
There are no politics involved here.
Exactly. They don't want to put me on something for them to make money off of it. No, they're restricting a lot of things to come in because of the safety and healthcare of people. So it's always going to be that. I'm never going to rely. We saw COVID, and we're going to be the generation that tells other generations when something happens like this, we'll tell them how the world was.
And we'll tell them that how we actually went through it.
Exactly.
what we
And when they
saw.
say, "Oh, are we coming?" Like, no, we're not coming together. All right, we're about to get into fights.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna be stealing each other's
There's
chips.
gonna be mandates.
That's what's gonna be happening.
And digital passports.
Yeah, ولدي. There once upon a time كنا نغسل الشيبس بالديتول.
Yo, that was hilarious.
That was funny.
We used to leave the box outside.
Yeah.
For
3
COVID
days.
to die.
Yeah. Let it die. Let it die. Yeah.
Man, I get screaming. I hear it every morning. It's okay.
It's all right.
48 ساعة باقي.
Dude.
Wow.
Bro, I remember spraying things down and got ruined because I sprayed them down, bro.
Stay.
You were trying about doing.
All of us were trying.
You
It
were
was-
fumbling in the dark, honestly.
Bro.
And that's
Alhamdulillah.
Allah, I went into
Alhamdulillah.
hiding before everyone. Alhamdulillah. That was.
أنت تدورها من الله. You want a
Oh,
reason
yeah,
to stay home and
Come on.
Well, on to other things. What's the name? The Crown Prince announced the new Abha airport.
that.
Yeah, I
looks
just saw that.
incredible.
If y'all did not see the video for it, please. It's not on YouTube. I searched for it, couldn't find it. Okay, you're gonna find it on all the main accounts,
X.
Instagram and X everywhere. It is a gorgeous airport.
Marra.
We were discussing before we started the podcast, and I told Turks because Turks is somewhat of a building guy.
شكرا
He's
جزيلا, I
an,
guess.
he's an airport man.
It's not even an open one.
Yeah.
He's a cement guy. He's a cement
Yeah.
guy. He draws lines.
Yeah.
He's an
I'm an oil man. Same level, but cement.
Yeah.
He likes putting things together.
he opened AutoCAD once.
I think by the time it's done, it's going to be the best looking airport that we have in the country.
It is
Why
absolutely
though?
gorgeous.
Because it's basically
architecture.
It's built
Yeah.
to make it seem
As part of
as natural as
Exactly.
it possibly can be. So
Yes.
they used very similar building materials as you find in the villages of
I don't
Asia.
think the building materials are
Similar
gonna be the
looking.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
the facade is going to look similar.
Exactly. They kept the same look of a traditional building.
So not a
Abha.
glass and metal monstrosity, basically.
No.
No, it looks gorgeous. The amount of sunlight that
That is
comes in.
beautiful. And
it
the
looks
angles.
beautiful, bro.
Beautiful
It's
angles.
it's so authentic. The entrance is two old guys fighting over land.
I hate you so much.
Yo.
I hate you so much.
And it's also huge. It's tripling the number of flights, I think, from airport capacity will increase to accommodate over 13 million passengers annually.
Nice.
Nearly 9 times the current 1.5 million capacity.
That tells you the amount of work that's going to happen in Suda and Abha overall.
They already started promoting it.
Yeah. So they've been working on it for a while.
Yeah.
But I think the big projects are yet to come. So when Suda launches, it's going to have an airport that actually can accommodate all the people, all the tourists are coming in.
Mm.
I'm still shocked that Al-Ula failed to do what Abha did on the airport.
In what sense?
Al-Ula could have easily done an airport that fits the whole.
The natural element.
Yeah.
Exactly. The natural, not only that, the scenery of it, just as beautiful as when you see the mirror between the mountains, they could have done something that looks
Amazing.
beautiful.
Well, it takes time.
And also,
as
it's not
well.
that big.
Is it international?
No, it's not.
It's
No?
local.
No, but
a local airport.
no, but it does have flights to Dubai.
No,
Al-Ula?
Al-Ula doesn't.
I'm
Al-Ula
pretty
is not an
sure-
international airport.
I'm pretty sure it does. At least
pretty
one
sure
flight to Dubai. Anyways,
not know.
either way,
I know it's not an international airport.
I think part of it also takes, the planning that it requires to come up with a design and be able to actually implement it. It's not something that, you want to do in a rush. This airport is going to open up, the first phase at least is going to open up in 2028. So you look at it.
It's an airport.
Yeah.
It's an airport.
Yeah.
No,
I expect that.
It was 5 years to build one airport.
Yeah.
Really?
It's an airport.
It's an airport, bro. What do you
mean?
Do you know how many?
لما تبني بيت بيت لحاله
3 years. 2
300
years.
400 ياخذ منك سنه سنتين بالراحه سنه بنا.
The amount of alignments that you have to go through for an international airport.
Yeah, he worked on an airport. You worked on King Khalid airport before.
Yeah.
Give us your insight on.
Dude, no.
Airport development.
Every government entity is going to have a say in this. You got to keep that in mind. Not every, but a huge number.
وزارة الزراعة ما لهم دخل.
I mean, it's Abha.
Yeah.
So it's aviation. It's going to be.
I hate you, Turks.
Thank you.
Stupid.
That's stupid. Even for us, that's stupid.
But yeah,
But you worked on the expansion.
yes.
How long
it was,
did the
it was
expansion-
only an expansion, and you still had to go through alignments. I don't want to name it all, بس غير alignments كلها هذه مع government entities, the baggage handling system, the
Baggage people. I was about to call them.
Baggage people.
I thought you were going to say the emotional baggage. 'Cause
the emotional baggage is something else.
Yeah,
that's
that's
something I dealt with.
that fits your
personally.
brand.
Back on point. All right.
What was the point?
The point
no.
is that there's a lot of
Steps.
a lot of
A lot of components.
entities that
A lot
are
of components.
involved, and at the same time, even the building of itself, that's gonna be a process. Because the expansion, how long you were working on that project?
It was a 8-year project.
Wow.
That's just an expansion
That's an expansion of an
of
already built
existing
airport. So the first phase in 5 years, that's great.
Yeah, you got to keep in mind the what do you call it?
The airport system, the Cat 4 and the Cat 5 system, that alone,
the
that takes a long time.
substructure, the العظم كله جاهز.
You need to come on. Foundation for the
yeah,
thing.
exactly. That's
Mhm.
going to add more time to you. That's going to take a while. It's an
Yeah.
airport. It is an airport.
No, but I honestly, I love to see this trend of really keeping in with the natural element that's going on in different Saudi places in regards to architecture. Like you are keeping that culture alive. You are keeping
From that standpoint, yeah, it is beautiful.
Yeah, well, that's what we're doing with Qadiyya. That's what we're doing with Dar'iyya.
yeah.
That's what we're doing with the Murabba. Not even the new Murabba, even the old Murabba.
Balad as well.
Balad.
They also announced a new Balad development company, I think, a few days ago.
I don't recall to be
Yeah.
honest. But yeah, shout out to them. I thought it was amazing. But anyway, New Abha Airport. Can't wait for it. We're gonna travel just to look at it.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. No more, no less.
2028?
2028.
First phase.
Done.
No, when we go to Sweden, we're gonna see it.
90,000 flights per year.
I think Red Sea Airport just got its first flight this week,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Yeah,
I've seen one of the homies send us videos. Looks amazing.
it does.
Looks
I'm
really.
really looking forward, honestly, to
Yeah,
go
it
to the Red
looks
Sea, honestly.
amazing.
I'll check out the resorts, check
Yeah.
out the
I can't wait.
Yeah,
Tastefully
afford
done.
the resorts.
yeah,
We'll
deep
talk
blue
about
seas.
it.
No, at some point, sooner or later.
Sooner or later.
Yeah, hopefully sooner.
homie's gonna be broke. Look, I'll take you there, but you can only enjoy the water and the sun.
في diving يا بعد.
Don't ask for dinner.
نبي نشوف سمك.
How are we getting it? By sea. Don't worry about it.
نروح نصيد.
استغفر الله العظيم. UFC
نسيت
was announced.
سمك نسيت سمك.
Senior, انت اللي هناك.
Yes.
UFC.
They recently announced that UFC will be hosting fight nights in the kingdom.
In general?
Yes, and as part of Riyadh season, of course.
Interesting. Okay, that's cool.
Which is interesting because as far as I was aware, the UAE, specifically Abu Dhabi, they had exclusivity within the Middle East. So I think this is an exceptional portent.
That's not very inclusive.
That's called contracts, Shabab.
Well, we also want to have people men.
We're just talking about capitalism. What are you talking about?
Listen, okay.
Local man discovered capitalism and competition.
Franchise rights.
Look, even if you take the right, again, depends on the terms, but I think even if you take the rights, you can say, oh, listen, we host you in the whole Middle East. Anywhere you want to go, you go through us. So it could have been that. That could have been the deal.
But it's interesting because
you can't deny UFC money.
There
we go.
There is a push now.
Unfair competition.
There is a push now for combat sports in the region. Like
There's always been a push.
Yeah, again, like it's bearing fruit.
Have you seen our children?
Yes.
Have you been to school?
I know, right?
That's called.
You see them, you go, I can capitalize on this.
Have you seen your nephews? You should know of all of them.
Yeah, like
combat is in the blood, son.
Those are marjala bruises.
Exactly.
Those are literally growing pains.
There's an area for Saudi. I'm not gonna tell you where it is because I'll get in trouble for it. Because they might tell me, "Oh, أنت ما فاهم." All right, but I had one of my friends who lives there. من أهلها, and he was like, so every Friday بعد العصر, the kids will go out and start throwing rocks at each other.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And he went through a deep dive and explained to me this goes back a long time where two of our tribes were fighting with each other.
Oh, reenactment.
Yeah, it's a reenactment
The actual civil war.
with
the end of the
actual blood.
Okay.
Like الراس ينفك عادي.
Wait, and they do this every week?
I don't know if it's every week. I'm not gonna say something I don't know, but no, it wasn't for the Eid, you asshole. But I remember going there and I'm like, yo, there's something happening in your neighborhood. He's like, hey, عادي العصر.
يوم كم؟ يوم الجمعة الثالث ما عليك بسيط.
Bro, you jumping, just smacking the shit out of the
I mean,
car.
honestly, if there's anything that's gonna make you grow up, it's a rock to the head. You know.
I can't. No, I see. I cannot transition after that. No, I can't. No. I can't. Now I have to go somewhere else.
Yes.
I'm just saying.
No. We're not doing that.
To put a button on the whole combat sports thing, in addition to the UFC, Battle of the Baddest is coming in the next week or so. I think you with Turksis
already got my
tickets.
ticket. Yeah.
Your poor people tickets.
Yes.
So this
I
is
ain't got rich people money. I'm sorry.
This is the boxing match.
Yes.
Between
Two people.
Okay.
مرة منتبه رجال.
I just
I want to go have fun. That's it. I want to see people punch each other. That's about it.
It is between.
Yeah.
Hit him.
I'll bring my pom poms. Don't worry about it.
كذا يضربونا.
It's between.
طقة. أفلقة.
That's gonna be me if you ever hear.
That's the audience right there. That's it.
It's between Tyson Fury and Francis Ngannou, the former UFC heavyweight champion.
See? I told you, two people.
The second one or the first one?
The Tyson Fury, you know him.
Yes.
Francis Ngannou, he is the former UFC champion. He used to be a dirt miner in the Cameroon.
And
he came up from poverty.
Dirt miner?
Yes.
Okay.
He used to shovel dirt for a living.
Oh, okay.
And he was jacked and like, yo, تعال عندنا.
Let's
Interesting.
teach you to fight.
They actually measured his punch and it was the equivalent of being hit by a Ford Escort.
Yo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, did they test all the cards? How did they? How did it was an escort?
I believe they used math, yeah, Shab.
Okay, so they did test all the cards. Okay, interesting. But isn't that unfair? That
This is how you're gonna die, by the way.
I'm just saying, a
You know
Ford Escort.
my punching force is the force of a Ford Focus. Did you test all the cars though?
I mean, I was thinking Escalade,
Did you do
maybe.
your math?
If you're saying this is unfair, he's fighting the undefeated world heavyweight champion Tyson
Yeah.
Fury. So I think it's
I
they're
don't,
about to
think
need.
he, I don't think he respects Tyson Fury though.
No, but that's what I'm saying. He's a UFC fighter, so he's not a boxer.
Yes, but
So he's at a handicap.
he
But he can throw hands.
yes.
Okay.
Have you ever seen a documentary of Mike Tyson?
Clips? But
He-
not
How fast
Exactly,
was
yeah.
the
See, Mike
escort going?
Tyson.
He had
okay,
he
I've
had
seen clips, yeah.
The Ford.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm like, is this from your dream?
No, wait.
before you start, Adil.
It's a small car.
Mike Tyson had a very famous quote. Everybody had a plan before they get punched in the mouth.
All right.
Yeah, and everyone that says it that way.
By the way,
gets punched in
his
the mouth.
boxing gym is open. I'm gonna take you there.
Yeah.
And I'll play this clip.
Yeah.
أخوي في الإسلام.
When Tyson first came out, it didn't just shock us; it shocked everybody
Boxing.
Yes.
because we were not used to a 15-second round.
Dude.
Imagine you sitting there for 3 hours waiting for Mike Tyson versus whomever,
X.
and then all of a sudden, in 30 seconds,
It's
two
over.
punches and it's gone.
X.
It's over.
X is out.
The reason we have boxing cards, like multiple fights before the main event, is because of Mike Tyson.
he
Oh,
ruined
really?
it. Yes.
Yeah.
Like everyone they brought, the only person that actually like beat him was Holyfield, and he did it by cheating.
And
He kept like headbutting down the whole time
no,
because he had the height advantage.
no, and Buster Douglas,
That's what Buster Douglas. Sorry, I forgot
the
Buster
greatest
Douglas.
upset in history.
Yeah,
What happened? What?
He knocked him out.
He knocked Mike Tyson out. He did a reverse Mike Tyson. No, but saying
That sounds wrong. But yeah.
I'm not that familiar with the sport. I am aware of celebrity fights with like Logan Paul and shit like
no,
that.
you don't know even about that. You heard about that.
Yeah, I'm
You don't
aware.
even-
I said I am
No,
aware.
You do not know anything about
Like,
boxing.
I am aware, yeah.
Isn't Naseem Hamid in Saudi just to help promote the fight as well? Because I saw him
I
somewhere.
have no idea, but I remember Naseem at his prime,
Yeah, he was amazing.
and that was a shock.
I've been
bro.
watching.
He was
clips of
he
him.
was
The dude's
he was
crazy.
back then he was Naseem Hamid. Now he's just Hamid.
Yes. Keep in mind, by the way, when he came out, we were all featherweights. Like we were skinny little kids. So when we go to boxing, we were considered featherweights, and he was a featherweight champion.
Okay.
And this guy came in, had all rhythm, no
Yeah.
skills, right?
Okay.
And he kept whooping people.
Moves though.
His decline was when they tried to, okay, we need you to
Train
stop
him.
doing what you're doing.
Okay.
Yeah, we want you to do these. They started making him think.
Okay.
Before he looked, you can see he's a fighter.
Mm.
He's looking for gaps. But when he started losing, that's when he started to change his game, change his coaches, change his management. And then you saw the decline. Well, at least that's what he'll tell you a different story.
Mm.
And he's right.
Of
Okay,
course.
he knows
Of
better.
course he's right.
He went
Yeah.
through it.
Yeah, I've seen
Yeah.
what he does, bro.
Yeah.
He came out on a carpet, by the way.
Yeah, that was
Hey,
crazy.
in one of his fights.
That was
A
crazy.
flying
A
carpet.
flying
Yes.
A
carpet.
flying
yes.
carpet,
Magic.
turban.
He was sitting
Yes.
on top of it.
He leaned into the I'm Arab.
I mean, that sounds like a good.
Come on, it was during the time where Aladdin was popping.
Yes, exactly.
Again, this is like in the 90s.
Okay.
Capitalized.
Yeah, Kappa.
It sounds like it sounds like a good entrance, actually.
No, Naseem was amazing at his time. So like when we saw that, and then we saw Mike Tyson, we're like, oh, okay. Like we
Okay.
should not be
We
paying
should,
attention.
we should stop boxing.
Dude, Mike Tyson like
It's
crying
scary.
because he's praying for his opponent. That's just
Yeah.
oof.
That man is
Oof.
a monster, bro.
Imagine you're fighting someone and he's crying. Why are you crying? I'm just praying for you. I'm sorry for what I'm about to do to you.
Wow.
Yes, bro. You have no idea how much of a monster he is. There's this one documentary that I saw that gives you the timeline of his fights. It's not about his life and what did he grow up doing. No, just his fights. And it shows you what he did in 1 year.
And how many people he whooped.
Not only that, in 1 year, he did what most boxers do in 3 years.
Mm.
Like usually when you get into a fight, right, you need a good 3-4 months of recovery,
Mm.
right? Especially if you got knocked out. And this guy was taking fights weeks after weeks and months after months.
Because he's just not.
And he's
really-
just winning.
He's not breaking his sweat.
Yeah, you don't have to recover if you don't get hit.
Exactly. And again, you don't even need to practice. If you're taking it that close, where's your opponent? All right, I got him.
Mm.
Like,
Who?
really? Yeah,
Who?
I got him. I
Okay.
got him. I got
No,
him.
no worries.
Anyway, good times. Great times.
Well, looking forward to you enjoying that, Trix.
Well, anyway,
Thank you.
this whole week, I've been tied down watching what is happening in
You and me,
our brothers and sisters in Palestine.
Lion Saram.
I mean,
And what's been happening in the world. Now, see, 7 days is a very long time.
8.
yeah.
8 by now. Or
Yeah.
9 by the time people will actually.
In
Get this.
international conflict, this is called a long ass time.
It's a long time.
lifetime.
So when it first started, it was one thing, and then midweek it became another thing, and by this end of the week right now, it's a totally different thing. So there's, even though if I try to summarize it, it's extremely hard to summarize how things have tilted and shifted in so many ways.
Can you
And-
allow me?
Before we get there, the one thing that I'm noticing compared to any other time is the amount of information that we have. See, before it used to be, oh, yo, you got the hookup, a guy who knows a guy that knows information.
Mm.
That's how it used to be.
Mm.
And then later on, you will talk to someone if you're from a military family like me. You look at your pop, say, yo, what do you think is happening? And your pop will tell you militarily how he thinks and how he assesses
How he
what's
breaks
going
it
on.
down.
And this time around, for the last couple of years, especially like during Russia and Ukraine, you had a lot of people giving breakdowns.
Mm.
And because we still had Russia and Ukraine going on and people so invested into it, and then this happened, those people shifted to this thing
There's
now.
a growth in the military analyst industry,
Exactly.
basically, that opened up the scene of the, battlefield.
The
for
term
people.
is open source intelligence.
Yeah.
And on top of that, the amount of information before used to be there's a lot of information that was wrong. But this time you had a lot of information that was right.
There still is a lot of wrong information out there.
There's not actually a lot of wrong information.
Mm.
There is misinformation.
There's which is basically sources trying to
there is three distinct types of information: information, which is what we know; misinformation, which is misreported or
Represented.
misrepresented;
and disinformation.
and disinformation, which is like we're looking at you, Israel, like
Vibes.
don't use AI images to believe to make us believe your shit.
It's basically trying to confuse people and raise the stakes of polarization among them.
Let's give a quick breakdown, right? How did it start?
How it started. Basically, what happened in last week, Hamas from the Gaza Strip, they basically invaded Israel and handed them the biggest L they took in forever, and
Since 1970.
since 1971,
73.
73, was it?
73, sorry, and it was a big L. They caught them sleeping.
Now,
They ended up-
Now-
they
there's
ended
a
up-
lot of conversation of how they caught them sleeping. And when they asked someone in the IDF, Israel Defense Force or whatever the fuck their name is, and he was saying, oh, we had some errors in some areas, some systems needed updating and whatever. But this time we actually had the videos from Hamas showing us what they did.
They broke down the wall.
No, this is what we saw.
Mm.
See, the breaking of the wall was the third thing that happened.
Yes.
Okay.
It wasn't the first thing that
What?
happened.
Okay.
So they came in with drones and they dropped bomb over all the surveillance that was close to the area that they were hitting,
Okay.
right? And for a long, long time, for exactly 2 years, there was such silence in Gaza that Israel thought, yo, there's nothing come out of these guys.
Mm.
Let's focus on the West Bank. Let's focus on Jerusalem. Let's try to
The
take
north.
Al-Aqsa. Let's focus on Hezbollah. These guys are quiet.
So they took their eye off the ball, basically.
Exactly.
So
we have our intelligence. We know our people there, and they're telling us it's all good. And so they turned a blind eye. Even they tell you when the warning signs came to the soldiers, there's problems in these areas. The soldiers didn't even give
Yeah,
a shit.
they said, "No, we don't believe
it's
it."
okay.
To-
We have an error over there. We'll check it out when we get the time.
To give you the full context, essentially the West Bank, the Gaza Strip had what they called their iron wall, which is different from the Iron Dome, which is basically a series of walls that relied heavily on technology, AI to some extent. Basically, the big selling proposition for this wall was that it guarded itself. Like you didn't need to have staff on it, essentially,
Okay.
because it had infrared and motion sensing, everything you could
Night
think of.
vision cameras.
كل شيء.
Anything you can name.
above ground, below ground, it could detect everything.
If you drill under it, if there's any systemic wave,
Mm.
it picks it up, gives a warning.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's one aspect. The second aspect was that Israel was granting work visas to residents of the Gaza Strip to work in Israel.
Mm.
So in their end, their head that, we're working with Hamas and they don't have an incentive to escalate because they want to keep that flow of cash coming into the Gaza Strip. So these people are going to be quiet. وما نحارش بعض من فترة بس خلاص عارفين لهم.
Mm.
And then came that operation. It caught them slipping, way off guard.
They took out the camera surveillances. Then they took out the telecommunication towers.
Yes.
And
And
when
then-
those two went down,
around a certain area of the wall.
exactly. And at the same time, while those two were happening,
They took that on the wall.
Okay.
They opened a door for them. Now, you come in, you have an agenda, 1,000 people, 1,100 people, I think it was.
1,300.
1,300 who came in, right? They went in and they started doing things that Hamas always does,
Mm.
right? And Israel is retaliating in the same way that Israel always does.
Yes,
Bombing,
I believe the
bombing
term.
indiscriminately.
Yes.
I believe the term that is colloquially used is ethnic cleansing at this point, because
Yes.
this is basically what is happening.
So when that was happening, now we get to sit and watch what the international community is going to do. First, we had the killing babies thing.
Decapitated babies.
Yes, actually, I have it right here.
So the lies begin.
Oh yes. Oh, a big gun.
The media propaganda machine starts churning.
All right.
I saw the, quote unquote. I saw the babies.
Step
and then
so-
correction,
one,
no babies.
This is
were
what
there.
happened.
Step
So
one, demonize.
Biden came out and he's like, I've been doing this for a long time. Biden said at the White House, I never really thought that I would see half confirmed pictures of terrorists beheading children. Right?
What does that even mean? Half confirmed pictures.
Esma. That boy didn't even finish. He didn't even walk off the podium.
Okay.
All right? By the time he got to the first step, the White House came out running. A White House spokesperson later clarified that U.S. officials and the president have not seen pictures or confirmed such reports independently.
Uh-huh.
The president based his comments about the alleged baby killing machine on the claims from Netanyahu's spokesman and media reports from Israel, according to the White House.
Clearly an objective source.
Yes, and a very accurate one given, recent history.
In response to questions from the Post, an Israel Defense Force spokesperson declined to comment on the state of the victims' bodies.
Mhm. So we have nothing to say at this point in time, which means
What we saw,
lies.
we know that.
Yeah.
Okay, but what I'm looking at is the behaviors of everybody else. So I saw the U.S. come out and cry, right?
Mm.
Like literally cry. I'm not joking. There was like someone like, I can't believe that this is the day. And like I'm watching and I'm like, okay, all right, you're standing by this. You're okay with this.
Because of emotional manipulation.
Not only that, this is day one.
Mm.
Day one is all emotions.
Exactly.
You don't know what's going
Make
on.
them feel or seem or appear like they are the evilest things that you can think of.
Exactly.
They
That's why,
kill babies.
That's why. Aywa.
That's how bad they
Exactly.
are.
And we have to, like, bro, there's two videos that I can never forget. And it all came from the IDF. One of them saying we're not dealing with humans,
We're dealing with
We're
we're
animals.
dealing with
Animals.
animals. Right? And I'm like, oh. So
I
we're
wonder-
allowing this.
I wonder who used that language before.
All right. And then the second one, that was in Arabic. I saw it on TV, and every time they bring the clip, you guys were here last Wednesday when I was trying to show you a clip, they kept cutting off that part. Guy comes out in Arabic and says, no food, no water, no electricity. You want hell, we'll give you hell. Ooh. So you're
This is a military leader.
exactly you're talking to the whole Gaza Strip,
Yeah.
and you're trying to treat them as all as one. So for you to have the freedom to do whatever you want.
We're
Yeah.
going to tell you we're going to do war crimes before we do them.
Exactly. And we're cool with it. And,
Right.
and we will publicly tell the world because these people are not human. This is why we can do that. So until then, like the first 3 days, that was what everybody is talking about. So like, okay, so they're just going to go in.
Yeah, I believe a famous Austrian painter did the same tactics a few decades ago.
Did you get it?
Yes.
Hitler!
Yes. Well, that's how it starts. It starts
If you're
with-
playing Kabsa Bingo,
Hey, take that one off.
take Hitler off.
3 Hitlers in a row.
Yes.
It's about starting the use of that dehumanizing language of treating them like they're
Exactly.
less than humans,
Yes.
subhuman in a sense, and that
And we
makes-
have the right to do that because
yes, and because they're animals, because
Yes.
they're so savage,
Then-
and that language starts getting used.
Then the airstrikes happened. And
Yes.
they kept happening, and they kept happening, and they kept happening. And then
I've
they
been watching live webcams, and for this whole week, all you heard was Israel's surveillance drones just flying in the air nonstop,
all night over us.
all night long. What was fucked up was they were hitting a little bit of areas in the daytime. At the nighttime, because the camera can catch all the smoke, it can catch all. It doesn't show you nothing but a little burst of fire.
Mm,
They went and cleared up towns.
mm.
So now, when they started doing that, I was like, okay, they're being strategic. They're trying to find tunnels, as they said. They're trying to find Hamas leaders. And they said like they killed X amount of Hamas leaders. Like over this week, they kept saying, oh, we got this guy, Hack Communication. We got this guy, Hack Madrid Ish, Air Force. Like they keep naming people.
Yeah,
all right?
clearly that worked before, yani.
Yeah, so we're like, yeah, exactly. So I'm like, okay, you're fighting people, cool, but you're taking out a whole neighborhood. You're killing thousands.
And families, literal families.
You're killing people and injuring thousands. So let me be correct, right? In order for you to find out one person, and you think you have the right to do that. Now, day 4, Biden comes out again. And he was like, oh no, Israel knows that there's rules for war. And I expect them to follow the rules of war.
Wink.
Yeah, I don't think they know that.
Oh, we know that.
Yeah.
Okay. But now we get to watch them because now there's more footage than ever before, and people paid more attention to this more than ever before because of so many reasons. Look, everyone is trying to point a finger at the US. Let me explain something to everybody. The US doesn't give a shit, bro. The US only cares about China. That's all it wants. US, if it's in its hand, it will make all of this stop so it can just focus on China.
Just go away.
Stop Russia, stop Ukraine. Yo, shut the fuck up, all right?
Yeah.
Just leave us alone, all right? There's a guy over there that's winning, and we need to go after him. And so this is what they all care about. Bringing the warships is just, we know that you guys took an L.
We cool.
And we know if you guys keep fighting and you actually do a ground offense where you put soldiers on the ground and you walk into Gaza, you know that you have Hezbollah to deal with, you're going to have Iran to deal with, you're going to have a lot of hell to deal with.
That's a big escalation.
Yes, and you're not capable of handling all of that. So the US said, we'll bring these warships, we'll put them up there for you to look at.
We'll make them look pretty.
And if Hezbollah gets involved, we'll try to take down his rockets. But we are not going to get on the ground with you. You have to be on the ground. And this is why it's been so long that they couldn't figure out what they want to do, because in order for you to go to war, you need to have objectives. Your objective can be, I'm going to kill Hamas, which he came out and said it. He's like, we're going to remove Hamas from the face of the earth.
Okay, but
revenge isn't a strategic goal.
But Hamas is not literally a trophy you can go capture.
Exactly.
That is a organization with people and redundancies and plans and
So
contingencies.
now you said Hamas. So now what expected from you from the world community is for you to put your guidelines of how you're going after them, since you said that's what you're going after, right? Day 5 or day 6, they come out and say, listen, north of Gaza, clear out in 24 hours.
1 million people.
None of you better be there. Go to the south. One of the spokespersons actually said, go to Egypt. Go down to Sinai to Egypt. And when he said that, Egypt came running. So behind the scenes, Blinken, he's not important.
Secretary of State of the US.
He's running around the
Secretary
region.
LED.
Okay. He's running around the region. He just left Saudi today. He was here. He met with Qatar. He met with Jordan. He met with Israel. He met with UAE. And he met with Egypt. And he's coming around saying, hey, we need to find solutions. The problem with Egypt and Israel, what's happening right now is that Egypt saying, listen, we want to send in aid. And they're like, okay, cool. Then open up the path. They're like, no. We want to send aid into Gaza. We don't want you to get them out of Gaza to get aid.
Because if they get out of Gaza, they ain't
not
coming
coming
back.
Exactly.
Right?
And that's what Israel wants, ultimately.
There's a recording for Hosni Mubarak. I remember a long time ago. I really hope I can find it. Where he was told by Benjamin Netanyahu, he's like, how about we bring you, we need Gaza. Like, we need to clear out Gaza. How about we just send him to Sinai? What do you think? And he said as a joke. And Hosni Mubarak is like, no. He's like, it's not going to happen. This is Ayam Hosni Mubarak.
So they had this idea.
And
for
Netanyahu was the PM back then.
Exactly.
Since the 90s, yeah.
Exactly.
Mid-90s.
So from what I read a long time ago and recently refreshed on was that Egypt was given an offer at one time. I think it was in the 90s. I don't know, maybe before. I'm not sure. Except taking everyone from Gaza into the Sinai area, and then we wipe out all your debts.
Okay.
It's an offer that you offering it today when Egypt is in a very hard place. You would think that Egypt would take it. Well, that's what they think because they're saying, you're vulnerable. You want to get out of this debt. So this is the only way to get you out. And Sisi came out and was like, nah, son, we ain't doing that today.
Now, keeping in mind that this is the offer that you're giving to Egypt and you're not really asking, the people in Gaza what they want. So that's the whole other issue. And the first part as well, that there is a huge awareness here that this is the ideal scenario for Israel because it gets to clear out Gaza. No more people. I get to flatten it as much as I want.
And rebuild it how I want it to look like.
And nobody gets to say no.
Exactly. And I keep it for myself.
So it is a very difficult situation for the people living there to find themselves in.
Day 6.
I agree with you. Day 6. We
People are
want you
saying,
guys to clear out, right? As people were walking in midday, Israel's bombing them.
Yeah, that was hard
they
to watch,
bombed a
honestly.
convoy of like 70 people leaving. Like,
Fuck.
No,
We're
70
gonna-
people died.
yeah, 70 people died in that convoy. Basically, we're gonna tell you to leave, but if you leave, we're gonna bomb you anyway.
As you are leaving on the way.
See, that what made the international community say, you don't care.
No, that's
Exactly.
what a surprise.
Because before, keep in mind,
because this has never happened before.
all the ones before, they were called operations. It was not war.
Because all of the ones before basically started with Israel having a plan, let's call it, or a strategy at
A
that
casus
point.
belli, as they say.
You know, a casus belli to do something specific, whether it's the kidnapping of a couple of soldiers or whatever reason they cooked up. But this time, it wasn't them that initiated, you know, let's say the beginning of the current state of affairs, right? They were caught on the back foot when they had to deal with, okay, there are people that are now kidnapping people around me. They're burning my military equipment. I don't know where this is coming from and where this is
And
going.
where do I stop them from?
Yeah, and I don't know how exactly I want to end this because I don't know what's actually going on the ground. It's been a week, and you know
And I still can't clear it
we
up.
keep hearing more reports of you know rising the number of destruction in different places in Israel, right?
And killings.
And killings. So
This is how we know that Hamas is still inside Israel.
Yeah.
We just look at the number of deaths.
So here's the thing. The international community is basically saying, yo, you're kind of brutal, Israel. And the Middle East in general, like, we told y'all for like the past 40 years. talking to them.
saying
the past 70, let's say, let's go back there.
And like, no, like it you know, it's getting severe when even the US reports are telling them are leaking out of the US telling Israel like, yo, calm the hell down.
Yeah.
And
But keep in mind, sorry.
this is also coming at a time where they themselves, as a government, as a society,
That's what I
are
was going
really going for internal discord. Like
Yes.
we were just talking about it, the fact that they've been going for 2 years almost without a government. And hey, Netanyahu, come back and be a prime minister. Wait,
No,
this guy's supposed to be in jail, right? And
They
and
have
they
they
keep
have a
having this
government.
cycle.
They have a government, but it is the most right wing and religiously focused government
But before that, for 2 years, they've been having problems.
And listeners, I refer you back to the quote from last episode. These governments thought the people in the government right now think Ariel Sharon was too nice.
too modest, you know. So the fact that we're seeing this now and the fact that it's still going on, honestly, يعني Allah يحفظهم والله, you know, ينصرهم at the same time.
Amen.
But at the same time, it's scary to see how this has just started from that
Pivoting off of that,
and escalated.
we're seeing people in the Western world who are on both sides of the issue, the supporting and the against. They're becoming insane. I know a guy who's in, I believe, in Harvard, and he's basically seeing trucks that have pictures of students who have been seen posting negative things about Israel, and these trucks are going around campus naming and shaming them.
What the fuck?
Yes, literally. تخيل كذا, like شاحنة عليها صورتك. This is Turks. On this day, he said bad thing about Israel. This is his email. This is the department he works in.
Yo.
Yeah, it is that insane.
No, it's not just that. And it's the idea of that France has now banned the idea of Palestine protest.
Yeah, good luck telling the French not to protest.
You know, and we're talking about the Germans doing the same thing as well. I think the UK has banned the use of Palestinian symbols and flags in the streets, something along those lines. So again, we are going back to these societies that claim to champion free speech, right? I'm supposed to be able to say what I think and
Inclusivity.
support who I want to support.
Mhm.
And now I am seeing my brothers and sisters and cousins getting slaughtered, literally. And I know that you're not doing shit about it. But if your constitution gives me that right and you're denying it to me, what does that say about you? What does that say about those freedoms that you champion so strongly?
You couldn't sell this one.
They
You couldn't.
They never could because
No. They sold it for so long.
Yes.
And everybody stood by them. But this one, you couldn't sell. Even though this one's the one when you actually really got attacked. This is the kid that cried wolf.
Mm.
You cried wolf so many times and they tell you go ahead. And then when it actually happened,
When you took that L.
you took that L and then you came out with emotions, bombing anything that moves because you don't know what you wanted to do. Because you were just so hurt. So you said, you know what? I'm going to do what I always did. When you kill one person in Israel, I'm going to bomb your whole city. And you're like, yo, this plan has worked for so many times. Let me just keep going at it. And you kept doing it and it didn't stop anything. It made things even worse for you. And then publicly and internationally, it became worse for you. Between your people, it became worse for you. You called, I think they called 500,000.
400,000 reservists.
Around that reserves. 400, I think they already had 100 ready. So it's 500,000 people, 500,000 people you're getting ready to go into Gaza.
Getting ready for a war.
Exactly. Getting ready for war in a place that you've been bombing. We all know that it's not going to work. Look, the way I'm reading the situation is that this is an L that both sides are going to take and none of them are going to win. And there's nothing here. What's going to happen here is going to be a change of policies in the future.
And for me, that's the question. Is this going to change the status quo on the ground?
I truly believe
there's no going back.
By the time this ends, this is going to be a totally different conversation. Israel wants a different Middle East. Israel wants to make sure Hamas doesn't exist anymore. It wants a lot of things that a lot of us as Arabs and people in the region do not even agree with. They're not going to push people away. Even the UN is telling them, yo, you cannot evacuate people out of their homes and push them to another land that's not theirs. What are you talking about?
That is literally one of the reasons the UN was created.
So
stop that kind of thing from happening.
That language that you thought you had the power to use, you can't use anymore. Now, as the US...
Did you see that interview with the former Prime Minister, Naftali Bennett, on Sky News?
No.
I saw that one.
The former Prime Minister of Israel, Naftali Bennett, was being interviewed by Sky News. And the anchor, being a journalist and doing his job, he asked, what are you doing to minimize the impact on Palestinian civilians? And you know what was the former prime minister of this country? What did he say? Are you seriously asking about civilians right now?
He screeched.
He got into his feelings. He got into his feelings when he told him, "Yo, don't kill too many people now. Kill some, but don't kill too many." He said, "No, I want to kill as many as I want."
And then he went the Nazi argument. Literally, the next sentence in the next breath, he went to the Nazi argument. Did you feel bad when you bombed the Nazis? Because we don't feel bad now because these are Nazis.
Well, here's the thing. This really hurt them. And the one thing that, like, when I'm talking to a lot of my friends who are dual citizenship Palestinians, and they were telling me, they're like, listen, they better have a plan. They really better have a plan. You made it this far. You better have a plan.
Or at least a set of demands that you can put forward to achieve something.
Exactly. There's no coming back from this. It's just going to wipe us out.
You're in too deep.
Or it's going to hurt everybody else in the region. So you better have a plan.
Well, keep in mind, we look back at the past 20 years of what's been going on in Palestine since the second Intifada to the first war in Gaza, to the second war in Gaza, to the fact that Gaza has been separated from the West Bank. And we haven't really seen anything positive going there except for more misery, more people getting killed, more people getting shot and getting injured. And even when they did the Great March, was it a couple of years ago? Like, they went and they tried a different route. They tried a different tactic.
It didn't work.
It was one of the biggest non-violent marches in the world. They had a good 20 to 40,000 people marching every single week. And what happened? They just started getting shot. So what else are you going to do? And this is the solution they came up with. Now, whether it's right or wrong is not for me, at least, to judge. Not for any of us, I think, to judge. They are the people that are living under that life, and they are the ones that have to put up with everything that they have to put up with. And it's something that we're looking at right now. Honestly, we can't even tear our eyes away from it. It's that difficult. But at the same time, you would want something to change after all of this sacrifice.
Here's the thing. Israelis felt like Palestinians for a single day and they didn't like it.
That's true.
Bro, I'm seeing clips of Israelis in hospitals and Palestinians in hospitals, and the contrast is just
way different. Bro, when you call a hospital, tell me you have 2 hours to evacuate.
Dude.
And I have critical patients.
When you cut power, electricity, well, that's the same thing. I mean, power,
food,
fuel, water away from a hospital?
No, not just that.
You're at war. I understand you want to be a dick, but from hospitals?
Bro, for an entire week, we're talking about 2 million people living in a small little box for an entire week, cut off, barely being able to communicate with the rest of the outside world.
Here's the thing.
Being bombed.
As a person who's been to some hospitals, it takes 2 hours if you get lost in hospital just to leave.
Mm-hmm.
If you're telling me an organized and efficient evacuation of a hospital,
orderly
efficient evacuation of a hospital is going to take more than 2 hours?
as if there's other hospitals that are prepped and ready. They're moving. They can have space to accommodate people.
And
People left their houses. They're living inside schools.
and they've been doing that. That's the thing that breaks my heart, honestly, is just looking at also something you were saying is that the fact that they know what to do because they've been here before.
Yeah.
You
Look,
know,
the thing is, Palestinians, they're the only ones who can win this. Stop pointing a finger at the rest of the world saying, you'll come and do something. That's not how this works. At all, that's not how it works. If the whole world came together to free Palestine, trust me, there's going to be a nuclear war tomorrow. It's not going to be that simple. None of this is simple. The people of Palestine need to be the ones to do the work themselves. It can't be us. What we do from our end is support with everything that we can to help rebuild.
One of the major problems here is that you are dealing with a victimizer who, through the collective generational trauma of the people of Israel, believe that they can never be the victimizer because they have historically always been the victim.
Well, that's what they were selling, though.
no, and that's the transition that
Because
happened. And
They sold a lie, people took the bait, and they lived that lie.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, the people who sold the lie fully believe that lie. That is the problem.
They have to, in order for me to keep my mission going strong.
And for him, that's his perspective. I have been wronged by the Germans, so I will wrong nobody.
And every time you tell me,
except the Palestinians are here and they're getting
remember what
wronged.
happened to me?
Yeah, exactly. And you're saying, well, y'all did this to me. So and that's the crux of their hold over the European powers. Like, yo, at the end of the day, all of y'all were complicit.
I'm here because it's your fault.
Exactly. I am here because y'all didn't do enough. So y'all gotta support me. And for the European countries, that's something they'll always be complicit in. Whether it's France or Germany or whoever else.
On the other side of that, let's go back closer to well, actually, we're still in the same region.
Even closer.
no, let's stick to the region. I'm watching a lot of Arabs fighting other Arabs online.
I'm seeing a lot of people on social media shaming people because they posted their vacation pics. Like, yo, why are you posting when Palestine is suffering here? What the hell can I do? I'm in Maldives. What do you want me to do?
Allah Shabs is holding in his lap.
No, honestly, it's for me, it is very consuming when you go through social media and you just find the news and you it's just something that you see a lot of people, they're just disengaged or they feel disengaged, you know? I'm not saying you stop living
I totally
your life.
disagree. You cannot come in and you start attacking other Arabs to understand what you're going through.
Yeah, I'm not saying that.
I'm not saying you are.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you are.
Like-
Because he cut me off mid-sentence, so I need to go back to the point that I had.
Mm.
If we're going to keep fighting with each other over this cause and try to point fingers at each other in our countries and saying, oh, what is this person doing? What's this person doing? I had an argument with a friend of mine. He's saying, why aren't Saudis outside protesting? And I was telling him, why?
When have you ever seen?
No, that aside, let's keep in mind, again, Saudi is still a myth to a lot of people.
Mm.
It was like, why aren't people protesting the street? I'm like, our government stood strong on what it believes. Before we even talk, what they're feeling and what we are feeling, it's the same. We're literally aligned with our government, how we feel about Palestine. And our government is going to speak on all of our behalf. I don't need to go in the street and start protesting because we already know what's going on. We've been your biggest supporter. We give you guys the most money to keep rebuilding.
Exactly.
And support and everything. Aid, you name it. I think it came out, the King Salman humanitarian aid. How much did they get? 500 million?
600.
600.
Yeah,
600
That's
million.
exactly the point. How much
Dollars.
If you're talking about what does protesting achieve except change government policy? Our government policy is already supporting Palestine.
Exactly.
And what we're doing in terms of just the aid, the fact that I can go on an app, a literal app, and just give as much
Donate.
money as I want to Palestine, and I know that it's actually going to get there. That's the power that we have that we're leveraging.
Here's the thing. There's an obsession with performative solidarity on this issue that is kind of insufferable at this point. Like, yo, I go out into the streets, I have the Palestinian kufiya, I wave the Palestinian flag, I say, Nifdak ya Quds, or what have you, or something similar to that. And literally, I just showed an action that has zero impact on reality. But in reality, we know that the Gulf, particularly, has been the most effective supporter of the Palestinian cause for two things: the consistent political and diplomatic efforts from all the GCC countries that have been united on this front, and in addition to the fact of the matter is, like, the amount of Palestinians that are in the GCC and have a semblance of a normal life that for the majority of them is something that is a luxury is a lot more than other countries can say that they've done to the Palestinian cause.
Well, here again, we go back to who. There's those claims that come from other Arabs. They come because again, I might be wrong. Not just they're haters. They look at their own governments and they see their governments not doing anything, so they go and they project that on others. Like at the end of the day, what are you really doing?
No, because they were for a long time they were saying, "Yo, you need to come help us fight a war." And for a long time, the GCC was saying, "It is not the 1800s. We don't need to go to war for this.
يا صلاح الدين من 1000 سنة يا أبو الشباب.
We can figure out solutions to help figure out how you guys can live in peace, they can live in peace, and figure everything out. There's a solution for that. But there's no solution where, hey, get them all out or kill all of them and give us back our land. You go kill all of them, then you're at war with the world and you're bombed and you put everybody else in trouble.
We go back to the original problem.
Homie,
Exactly.
they got nukes. We don't got nukes.
And I think it was me and Shams, we were having this conversation last Wednesday after everybody left. And I was talking to him, I was like, everybody wants a strong Middle East. We need to focus on making it a strong Middle East. Before we go talk our shit and say, yo, we're going to go defend, let us rebuild. Like, why can't we plan for 20 years?
Because
70 years, you've been on the same vibe. Why can't we take 20 years and rebuild in a way that can help all of us? And after 20 years, we can be in a better position to have those conversations in a better way than it is right now.
Because shit keeps happening about Dul in the region.
Hello, all right. For 70 years,
people,
they kept saying that.
لا بس غير كده, you end up having political players that appear out of nowhere in this region, and they start using this issue as a building block for them to push their own
We're
agenda.
talking about Iran.
No, we're not talking just say about Iran. We're talking about nationalist Egypt when it happened back in the day.
That was back in the day.
Yeah, so but again, we're
But
talking
tell me the last 30 years what
these.
happened.
Not much progress in terms of the peace process.
No, not the peace process. I'm talking about as the region. Other than the Arab Spring that failed, we had nothing.
We're talking about Daesh, we're talking about Syria, we're talking about
That came through a vacuum that was created over there. Now, if you tell me I rebuilt Iraq with a solid government, do you think
the Iraq war, and before that as well.
if we had a solid Iraq today, if the 9/11, everything that happened after didn't happen, and we had a solid Iraq today, right? It's gonna be a totally different conversation.
Definitely, it definitely would be. And
so
and
if we
even in the state of
stabilize
Arab-
the region,
Yeah.
we can fix the problems. And as long as we all want to stabilize the region, we're gonna be good.
well, yeah, it starts with stabilizing the
Hello.
region.
And I agree with you 100%. There's always new players coming in.
Yeah.
But with a stabilized region under one mission, we're fine. Yo, this popped up. We go handle it. Let's not wait on the US to come through, everybody else to come through. We go handle it ourselves. We produce ourselves. If we start doing that as a region, then we can be a superpower ourselves. But we cannot be like this, torn apart. And this is exactly what everybody wants. No one wants this region to be one. They always want it to be torn apart.
Well, another part of the problem is you always had players coming from the outside and trying to direct this region one way or the other. Whether that's the US, whether that's the Soviets, we've always been a theater basically for the big powers to come and play out their politics.
Shamsi, you just described geopolitics.
No. Especially us in terms of the past 80 years. Like you don't
Because-
see any other region that has the same amount of importance in terms of the conflicts. And a big part of that is Israel's existence. I think it's one of the core fundamental sins of the modern Middle East. It's the fact that Israel was allowed to be created with no Palestine to counterbalance. And that's a lot of these problems that we're describing, the fact that the region is the way it is, it really goes back to that.
I know.
There is no other dividing factor in the politics of the region as much as that. No,
And-
nothing comes close.
And since that happened, we haven't done a single thing but go to war.
Yeah.
Sacrifice more people, sacrifice more blood, and got zero result for it.
Unfortunately. Like we were actually reading the other day, like we were talking about the economic impact of the conflict itself. And just in the past 30 years, it's what was 24 trillion? She's like,
Yeah, no, I think
4 trillion.
I think
something like that.
Saudi spent 4 trillion. I think.
So lost in terms of economic potential.
Yes.
And even that doesn't matter in terms of the human cost. It's just another frame of looking how much this has not led us to grow. And all of this goes back to, again, the fact that you do have an international community led very strongly by a colonial mindset, US and France and UK, that supports Israel because, hey, we used to do that same thing. So it's not wrong for them to do it. We used to oppress a native population too.
I'm not going to give them my land.
You know, yeah, we were used to this. We know what y'all are doing. We have experience with this, and unfortunately, they have the power to enforce that will on the rest of the world. And that's the essential part of it. As much as the rest of the world wants to come back and come together and push back, the powers that be that are in control don't want that.
The question is this: after this war ends, there's going to be a world before this and after this in our region. هذه ما بتعدي على الخير أبدا at all. ما بتعدي على الخير at all.
No, not at all. We can't go back to the status quo.
At all. You cannot go back to how things were. Now the question is, when this change starts happening, it is for the first time in history, that we're actually in a position where we can actually negotiate. Because over the last 5 to 8 years, this region has been going through a lot of changes, especially GCC countries, especially Saudi, where it moved in a way where it has geopolitical power. Now, the conversation is totally different than it was before. Before it was asking. Now we tell.
Now we dictate.
No, dictate is totally different.
No, we basically said we have sovereign rights, we have our own considerations, and they will be taken seriously. ما بتجي تقول خذ الفضلات حقتنا ومشي حالك فيها.
So now, that negotiation could either rebuild to something better, or it could take us back years. And Allah Alam where we're going to be. But the most important thing for all of this is what I really hope is Palestinian people get peace. Let them sleep at night. Just let them sleep at night.
The hopeful resolution is that people on both sides understand that,
compromises.
We can't really keep this thing going. We have to de-escalate. Let's sit down and talk.
Netanyahu said, he's like, this is going to be for a long time. I guarantee the US is like, no, listen, bro, we're not giving you all the time in the world. You need to find solutions quick. There's already problems all over the world that we cannot be around. And oil prices are going up. We have a lot of issues in the world today. Since after COVID, it's been getting harder and harder for the whole world to come back. So wrap this up, sir.
It's already been, not just that, it's already been 3 generations. The fact that that's the thing that kills me. The fact that it's
trust me, it's not even about the 3 generations. It's at a time where Israel is at its weakness and the US is fumbling the ball. Yes. And China is looking.
You can't really keep a war effort going when you have 500,000 of your army taken out of the economy for a long and protracted period of time. They're called reservists for a reason.
بس يعني كمان you look
those people, those reserves, those 400,000 people, they have day jobs, but they're on the reserve just in case.
Now you brought them back. You want to go to war for a long time. Cool story, bro. What's your mission? What do you want to do? How long does it take? And what do you need? Let's wrap this up real quick.
Yeah, who's going to do those desk jobs? Yeah, Abu Shabab.
At the end of the day, what is the end game here? And then that answers this question. There is no vision for the end game that is, palpable for both sides.
So either Israel backs the fuck up, takes the L, tries to do better for itself by protecting its borders, or go into a war where they're not going to have the full backing they think they have.
Or sit down on a negotiating table and actually be able to hammer out an agreement that serves both sides.
Because at the same time, while all this is happening, you actually have a legitimate fear coming out of Iran. For you.
And Iran are not keeping silent as well.
Exactly. Like they just came out there. Can you read what Iran said today?
Iran's having a ball right now. Iran is saying, hey, this is where we come into play.
A lot of people were saying, yo, Iran is the reason for this happening. How can Hamas fall into the trap of listening to Iran? Bro, when you're at war and people are taking your land, tell me whose hand you won't shake just to take your land back.
True. Very true.
Yeah. That's a different conversation.
You don't really get to dictate who your allies are when you're fighting very, very survival.
When you're trying to survive.
So now that you mention it, Axios reports that Iran sent a message to Israel via the UN stressing that it does not want further escalation in the Hamas-Israel war, but that Iran will have to intervene if the Israel operation in Gaza continues.
See, those are strong words.
Intervene is not something easy to say.
At the same time, it's Iran saying it, so take it with a grain of salt.
It's very true, very true. But and we also do acknowledge the fact that there are still levels of escalation that we haven't seen yet, right?
Yeah,
This can get even way worse
that's
than
what
it
I'm
is
saying.
today.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm literally reading as we're talking right now. They've bombed Syria a couple of times already. They've bombed the airport again in Aleppo and Damascus.
Yesterday, Israel hit a bunch of reporters, killed a Reuters video camera operator,
in southern Lebanon.
and 2 Jazeera journalists went to ICU. But hey, no, it's not war crimes.
So wait, so it's fine for me to just hit other random countries? Huh.
Yo, Justin Bieber, you're a fucking moron. Yo, Justin Bieber is the fucking biggest idiot I've seen in my entire fucking life, bro. You can't be this dumb.
Okay.
He has
you think,
agents.
you think,
What are you
you think
talking about?
Hollywood doesn't have a clue? But dude,
Yo, this guy is dumb. He put a picture of Gaza saying, save Israel.
Pray for Israel.
Pray for Israel. You're a dumbass, yo.
I have
Your name is Justin Bieber, to be honest.
I have a theory though. If we can get Taylor Swift to say "Free Palestine" once, we win. The Swifties will get it. The Swifties will make it happen.
Yeah.
Bro, she has the
Is that
back of a Jew.
is that a new mission?
What? See,
No,
We're-
she has a long back.
Yeah.
She has a long back.
On our side, about dude, on our side.
A
dude.
long back.
Yeah, we're trying here.
I don't think the U.S. wants this to go any further. I don't think the U.S. wants blood, to be very honest. Okay, it's politics where you guys are watching. When you hear people say, come on, yo, Israel can have whatever it wants, we're backing it. This is called politics. Look at actions. Don't listen to Joe. Don't listen to everybody else that's talking. Those are words. Look at the action.
yeah.
And in terms of action, I don't think the U.S. wants to be involved in any shape or form.
ما لنا خلق.
It's more like, yo, I made this promise. Fuck, I gotta pay this man. I gotta do this. It's like when you promise your little brother, then he comes back asking for it. And like, man, do I have to? So you're just pulling up, just showing face. I don't think they want it. I honestly don't think they do.
It's like that dad who's driving the carpool to the vacation. Yo, I'm gonna turn this car around.
Yeah, but it's because we're also looking at the U.S. trying to still project that image, right? We are the free, we are the good.
No, I think it's way more than that.
No, but
That's millions, that's billions of aid that's been going to Ukraine, right?
Mm.
And hasn't been working properly.
Mm.
And now you need to
What
put
do you mean
Ukraine
hasn't-
to stop.
What do you mean hasn't been working properly? Have you
Hasn't
seen,
worked at all, to be honest.
have you seen that jewelry? Those blinks?
The Cartier?
The Cartier.
So that didn't work. And now you have to go focus on Israel. And Putin is going to have a field day over
He's
there.
been trolling very hard. You know what he's been saying? That this is like the Nazi siege of Leningrad. Don't stop Israel. Oh, bad kicha Israel.
He actually went in on them.
No, but again, and for me, that media image that you're seeing, that we're watching, again, it's nothing new. Unfortunately, it's something that we've been going through for the past 20 years. We've been very familiar with it for the past 20 years. But at the same time, I think it is different because of the scale and because of the fact that where we are in terms of the world's look at itself. We're trying to be good here. So, world, be better. Be good.
The world be good.
Well, honestly, be better.
Strong word.
No, because I agree with that.
Stop. Get help. Yeah.
The world be good.
Like I agree with the point that you started off the episode with. Like the world looking back 4 years ago, is it better to you? Is it not better? No, I don't think it's better. We're
worse than
better.
its
We're
own
better.
way.
Saudi's better, right? Where we are in terms
We are
of,
the world. We are the children.
in terms of where we
the
are as a
thing.
nation, in terms of the development
Yeah,
that we've
as-
afforded ourselves, in terms of the vision that we've set, and
100%.
the progress that we made. Like, we look at ourselves and we say, yes, we are on the right path. But everybody else around us, not so much.
Oh, man. We wish for peace for everybody, bro. We wish for peace for this region. Get all these groups out of here. Let's figure out actual real solutions and let's help each other out, bro. Let's all prosper together in this. We can't have the same region that we had for the last 70 years. It just doesn't work anymore. Like, we all want more. And if we're not going to do more together, then what's really the point? Right? If you're going to take a page out of someone's book, look at the EU. Just look at the EU.
It's the definition of insanity, Abdul. Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results.
يا رب يا كريم سبحانك رحمتك. Anyway.
Adil, do you know what they call a pessimist in the Middle East?
I don't like this.
It's a trap.
An optimist with experience.
How true is that?
That is, I know, right?
How true is that?
Makes you think.
The most so
Food for thought.
much, yo.
Food for thought.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank y'all for joining us. We appreciate you. I hope this wasn't a heavy episode on y'all. We tried our best to keep this light. We suck.
Started with the
With
Exorcist.
keyword here is tried.
We talked about movies.
Yeah. And
I'm
games.
sure other things happened in the news this week, but we really have no idea because we've been so glued to this. I've been so glued to this. And I don't know, man. Someone walked in, he's like, bro, you're not 70. Why you keep... it's on blast. it's literally on blast.
Honestly, it's hard to detach. Honestly, it is hard to detach.
You can't, bro.
Yeah, it's hard to unplug.
Especially from the live cameras. The live cameras is the one, every time I hear explosion, I'm like...
Because there's just too much going on, and you just feel like you want to be able to support it in any way, shape, or form, and at least let me know. So let me tell other people. That's...
Anyway, shout out to all the Arabs for the social media game. You guys have been going strong. The BBC is crying. Every time we put a post, you whooped its ass left and right. You whooped CNN. You whooped all these agencies. Keep it going, y'all. Keep going. The only person that's really speaking is y'all. Everyone else is just trying to fight with each other.
Yes, sir.
We out?
Yeah.
Peace.
Peace.